We've seen one method of replacing text within your data. Another method is to actually use formulas. So rather than use the find and replace tools within Excel, we can use formulas to do what essentially is pretty much a similar thing. If, for example, in our email address here, we'd like to change the @ symbol into a different symbol completely, then we can use a formula called replace. If we insert a new column, and this new column is the one we're going to do our work in, then we can use the replace function equals replace, open brackets, which is the string we'd like to replace. Well, that's currently the value in the H column. I'm down in row 66, that's H66, comma, start num is at which character within our string do we want to start replacing the text. So I've got to figure out where the @ symbol is. So Jesse 15 @ is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8th character, comma, and how many characters am I wanting to replace? Well, just one, comma, and what do I want to replace it with? That's what is the new text. Inside speech marks, I put my new text values, which is actually a less than and a more than symbol, and then close speech marks and close brackets. Although I'm only replacing a single character, I can replace that single character with as many characters as I want. I'm going to go into this cell value here, Jesse15 at adventure-works.com, and replace character 8 with just one character from character 8. So instead of take me to character 8 and replace two characters, which would be the @ and the A, I'm replacing just the @ with a less than and more than symbol. And when I press return, hey presto, you see that it works. Jesse15, less than more than adventure-works.com. Now that's great, but I can't actually replicate that formula because the @ symbol appears in a different position every time. So I need a way of finding out what position the @ symbol is at. That's easy. I can use the find function. In the cell below, let's just try out the find function, which is equals find. Find text is what am I looking for? That needs to go in speech marks as well, comma, within what text? Let's try the cell next to us. That's H67. And then there's an optional parameter there of start num. So that's the character within the string you would like to start at. If I leave it empty, which I'm going to do, then it will start at the first character. But you could ask it to start at the 5th, the 6th, the 10th, the 11th, wherever you want it to start at. And when I press return, I'll be given an integer value of 9, which tells me at what position within this string the @ symbol occurs. If I replicate that down just for a few lines, you can see the @ symbol is appearing in different locations. Position number 8, 7, 10, 11, 9. So now that I have the find function, I could actually use that, if I cut that from there, inside my replace function. Equals replace, open brackets. What's my old text? Well, it's H67, comma, what's my start point? Well, the start point is where the @ symbol is. So if I paste back the find function, that will tell me the character that the @ symbol is at, then comma, number of characters. Again, it's only one. I'm replacing it with 2. So they go in speech marks and close brackets for the replace function and return. And you can see it then says Amanda53. Now, when I replicate this downwards, because we're now using a function to locate the actual position of the @ symbol, each of these, even though there is a different length for each mailbox name, it finds the @ symbol as appropriate and replaces it with the less than and the more than symbol. The only problem with this formula is it has a little drawback if there is no @ symbol. So if I go on to the next one, for example, and let's just get rid of that @ symbol and replace it with a decimal place, and then try replicating this formula downwards, we get hash value. The reason I get hash value is because it cannot find, it's got nothing to do with the replace function, it's the find function that's falling over. It cannot find the @ symbol. So what I need to do is effectively encompass this in one of the possible error functions. So if error would be the easiest. If running this replace and find function together causes an error, then we'll just output a bit of text that says no @ close round brackets for the if error and return. And then we get our little error message of no @ because there is no @. We've had to use 3 functions in there. The replace function, which is actually doing the work of replacing the character with characters. The find function that is locating whereabouts in the string that symbol occurs, in this case the @ symbol, and then a third one of if error, just in case the @ symbol doesn't exist. I'm sort of covering that base by using if error on this particular function and we'll actually like to see no at. That's my final function. So that's the one that ideally needs to go in the very first line up here, paste, and then I can replicate that down the whole column. Now it will actually stop at where I did the work. There, and then I need to replicate it to the bottom of the data. Bottom right hand corner, double click, and then all of my entries now have the new email address, which obviously isn't really an email address because it doesn't have the @ symbol. If this is the final result that I'm after, then we would copy the whole column of data, go back over the top of the email addresses and do a paste values special. So we've then replaced all of these with the new values. My functions in this right hand column are now saying there's no @ symbol because I've just replaced them. And we can get rid of that column because it's done its job. So that's method 2. The first one was that file and replace option. This time we've gone through using formulas and we've had to use 3. The replace function for making the actual replacement, the find function for finding the location within the string where the character is we want it to replace, and then an if error around that whole double function just in case the symbol doesn't exist. And then we can put out an appropriate error message.